Welcome to the stories on Echoes of Revenge. Step into a world where love turns dangerous, revenge feels inevitable, and every story drags you deeper into the shadows of desire, betrayal, and the human heart. Let's begin today's story. The envelope was thin. The kind that changes everything. I opened it standing in my kitchen, coffee going cold on the counter. Notice of default and election to sell under deed of trust. My condo. The one I'd purchased 5 years ago with my signing bonus from the engineering firm. The mortgage I'd paid off 2 years early. According to Citibank, I owed $180,000 and hadn't made a single payment in 90 days. I called the number on the notice. The customer service representative sounded bored until I explained I'd never taken out a loan. Her tone shifted. "Hold please, I'm transferring you to our fraud department." 20 minutes later I understood. Home equity line of credit. Opened 4 months ago. My name on the application. My mother listed as co-owner with full authority to act. Notarized signatures. Everything appeared legitimate. Except I'd never signed anything. And my mother wasn't a co-owner. "We'll need to investigate," the fraud specialist said. "In the meantime, the foreclosure proceedings will continue unless the debt is satisfied." I hung up and pulled my title documents from the filing cabinet. The deed was clear. Sole owner. No co-signers. No joint tenancy. Just my name. My phone buzzed. I let it go to voicemail. That night I sat at my dining table with a yellow legal pad. At the top I wrote, "The Ghost Ledger, Emotional Costs. Years called not financially responsible while I paid off a condo at 29. Cost equals confidence in my own judgment, slowly eroded. Every family dinner where mom explained smart money moves to me. Cost equals self-respect, chipped away in 15-minute increments. The time I bought my first investment property and dad said, 'Don't overextend yourself.' Cost equals pride in my achievement, dismissed before I could feel it. Sunday calls that always ended with, 'Make sure you're saving,' from people I'd loaned $15,000 to 3 times. Cost equals belief that they saw me as competent, fully demolished. Being told I got lucky with my career while watching them live in a house I'd helped them refinance. Cost equals recognition for a decade of 80-hour weeks, never acknowledged. The family reunion where they introduced me as still figuring things out, while I just closed on my 3rd rental property. Cost equals the right to define my own success, stolen in front of 40 relatives. I stared at the list. The financial theft was $180,000. The emotional theft had been compounding interest for years. I thought about the gambler's fallacy. I'd treated my family like a slot machine, feeding in coins of tolerance and patience, convinced the jackpot of validation was mathematically inevitable. One more Sunday dinner. One more ignored achievement. One more dismissed success. Surely the next pull would pay out love and respect. But slot machines don't work that way. The house always wins. And I'd been playing at a table rigged against me from the start. The next morning I called my attorney. Rebecca Chin had handled my real estate purchases. She listened without interrupting. "Bring me everything," she said. "Title documents, the foreclosure notice, any communication with the bank. I'll request the loan file from Citibank." 3 days later we sat in her office reviewing documents spread across the conference table. The loan application featured my signature. My mother's signature. A notary seal dated March 15th. "This is good forgery work," Rebecca said, examining the signature page under a magnifying glass. "But look at the notary seal. See how the ink is slightly raised? That's from a rubber stamp. Real notary seals are embossed. This is a felony." She pointed to another page. "And here your supposed signature. The capital J in your name slants left. But look at this signature from your actual title document. Your capital H slants right. You're consistent. This isn't." I felt something cold settle in my chest. My parents hadn't just made a mistake. They'd planned this. Rebecca made copies of everything. "I'm filing a fraud report with Citibank and notifying the district attorney's office. This is wire fraud, forgery, notary fraud, and identity theft. Federal and state charges." My phone had 37 missed calls from my parents. 14 voicemails. The texts progressed from concerned to angry to desperate. "We need to talk about the house situation. This is ridiculous. Call us back. You're going to ruin everything over a misunderstanding? I blocked their numbers. Citibank's fraud investigation moved faster than I expected. Within 2 weeks, Rebecca received the forensic document analysis report. 12 pages of findings. The notary seal belonged to a woman named Patricia Hernandez, commissioned in 2019. She'd reported her seal stolen in January, 2 months before the loan documents were notarized. The forger had used a stolen seal to create the rubber stamp. The signature analysis was damning. 12 points of divergence from my actual signature. The report concluded with 99.7% certainty that I had not signed the documents. The bank records showed where the money went. $180,000 disbursed in March. By May it was gone. $85,000 to American Express, paying off credit card debt. $42,000 to a luxury travel agency. 2 European river cruises. $28,000 to Mercedes-Benz of Greenwich for a down payment. $25,000 withdrawn as cash over 6 weeks. They'd spent it like it was a gift. Like the money had appeared from nowhere, blessed by the universe for their enjoyment. Rebecca scheduled a meeting with the assistant district attorney. I sat in a windowless office in the federal building while ADA Morrison reviewed the evidence. "This is substantial," he said. "Wire fraud alone carries 20 years. Add the identity theft, the notary fraud, the forgery. We're looking at multiple felonies with mandatory minimums." He looked at me directly. "Are you prepared for what comes next? These are your parents. Once we file charges, there's no taking it back." I thought about the ghost ledger. The years of being treated like I couldn't manage a checkbook while I built a portfolio. The casual dismissal of every achievement. The way they'd spent $180,000 of my equity in 8 weeks without a single moment of hesitation. "File the charges," I said. The investigation expanded quickly. Federal agents interviewed the loan officer who'd processed the application. He remembered my father. Very confident. Said his daughter was disorganized with paperwork, so the mother was helping manage things. Had all the documents ready. Everything looked legitimate. The agents found the notary seal in my parents' home office during the search warrant execution. Patricia Hernandez's seal. Stolen from her car in a gym parking lot in January. My mother had been at that gym. Security footage confirmed it. The discovery phase revealed more. Email exchanges between my parents planning the loan. Text messages about spending the money. A conversation where my father wrote, "She'll never know. The statements go to our address." They'd rented a mailbox in my name at a UPS store. Intercepted every bank statement. Every notice. Every piece of evidence of what they'd done. The U-Haul appeared at my parents' house on a Tuesday morning. I heard about it from my uncle who called despite my request for no contact with the family. "They're moving," he said. "Downsizing. The Mercedes is gone. Your mother is crying every day." I didn't respond. "She says it was a misunderstanding. That you gave verbal permission." "I never spoke to them about any loan," I said. "The forensic evidence is very clear about that." He hung up angry. 3 days later he called back. He'd seen the evidence packet the prosecutor sent. He apologized. The criminal charges were filed in August. 4 federal counts. 6 state counts. The arraignment made the local news. Greenwich couple charged in $180,000 mortgage fraud scheme against daughter. My phone erupted. Relatives I hadn't heard from in years. Friends of my parents. Everyone had opinions about family loyalty, forgiveness, moving forward. I changed my number. The civil suit was simpler. Citibank dropped the foreclosure proceedings and absorbed the loss. They filed their own criminal complaint and sued my parents for the full amount plus damages. The bank's attorneys were efficient and merciless. My parents' attorney tried to negotiate. Rebecca forwarded me the offer. My parents would plead to reduce charges if I agreed to a restorative justice process and family mediation. I wrote back 3 words, "Absolutely not." The trial was scheduled for March. It never happened. In February, their attorney called Rebecca. They wanted to plead. The plea hearing was brief. My mother cried. My father stared straight ahead. The judge accepted their guilty pleas to wire fraud and identity theft. Sentencing was set for 60 days out. I didn't attend. Rebecca sent me the transcript. The judge's words, "You violated not just the law, but the fundamental trust between parent and child. You stole from your daughter and then attempted to blame her for the consequences. This court finds your conduct particularly egregious given the sophistication of the fraud and the theft of the notary seal. 18 months federal prison for dad. 12 months for mom. 5 years supervised release. Full restitution to Citibank. Permanent felony records. Their retirement accounts were seized to begin restitution payments. The house went into foreclosure. My father's consulting business evaporated when clients learned about the conviction. My mother's book club friends stopped calling. I heard all of this secondhand. I didn't attend sentencing. I didn't visit them. I didn't write letters or accept their collect calls from prison. I wasn't punishing them. I was just done subsidizing the delusion. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up when blood isn't enough. And for years I'd been the only one showing up. With money, with patience, with the endless hope that this time would be different. They'd proven it never would be. 6 months after sentencing, I stood in my living room, my fully owned, unencumbered, legally protected living room, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. My savings account had climbed to $240,000. I'd gotten a promotion at work, leading the new infrastructure division. The congratulations from my colleagues felt real, unfiltered by skepticism or dismissal. I booked a trip to New Zealand. 3 weeks. Mountains and silence and nobody who expected anything from me. The last text from my uncle arrived before I left. Your mother wants you to know she's sorry. She says she was desperate. She hopes someday you can forgive them. I read it twice, then deleted it. The account was closed. The debt was paid. The ghost ledger balanced. And I was finally, completely free.